here. So the thing I wanted to talk to y'all about today is making sure that we are getting in the habit of dealing with issues that come up in life right away versus putting them off. And so the reason why we want to do this is if we let these things, no matter how big or small they are, these issues that come up in life, if we let them build up, they exponentially grow on each other until it reaches a point where you explode or you have a meltdown or you shut down completely. One of those usually happens. So it came up actually this past weekend. I was talking to somebody about it, and I was playing devil's advocate with this person, and she was telling me that sometimes it's easier to just ignore problems and deal with them later. And I said, okay, that's very interesting. Why do you believe that? It's like, well, if I can just ignore it, I don't have to deal with it. It doesn't stress me out, and I can deal with it when I feel better later. Like, okay, that makes some sense. But, then I asked her a very obvious question. If you ignore a problem, does it go away? Obviously, no. So if you tell yourself you're going to deal with it later, say, I'll deal with it tomorrow. What happens if you have another problem that comes tomorrow? Now you have two problems. And then it's like, well, shit, now I have two problems. I'm not going to do it. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it this weekend when I feel better. I have time. I can deal with it. And then the weekend comes and 4 more problems show up. And now you've got 6 problems because you kept putting off these problems. And it doesn't matter how big or small these issues are. Her example was she just wanted to ignore having to do some homework and thought that it would make her life easier if she procrastinated and did it later. And it's something just as simple as, this is a 10-minute homework assignment. But this 10-minute homework assignment is going to take you 15 or 20 minutes if you put it off till tomorrow when another problem has arisen. And the whole exponential building of issues can be seen. I'm sure you've all had this happen to you at some point in your life where the smallest little thing sets you off completely, makes you blow up on somebody, makes you blow up on yourself, the situation, and you don't even know why. And it's because all of those issues, those small little issues, built up and built up and built up in your head until you reached a point where your brain only has, like, if you think of your brain as a computer, your brain only has so much storage space in it. And if you max it out with stupid nonsense problems that can just be taken care of in a couple of minutes, but you just ignore them, then your brain doesn't have any more memory, so to speak, to take on extra stress when it happens. So then you have a meltdown and blow up. This is what causes people to have one of those moments where they say, fuck it, I'm just going to eat whatever I want. I don't even care. I'm just going to eat it, and future me can suck it. Or like, I'm just going to have these drinks and it's going to be okay because I'll make up for it later. Or actually, speaking of drinking, that was another topic of how to ignore things. Like, well, how many of you have a glass of wine to relax? Whether you're watching this now or if you watch the replay later, people who aren't on the call now, if you ever have a drink to just relax, that's a good sign that you're trying to ignore something mentally. That will still be a problem tomorrow when you're not relaxed. So the the whole moral of this story and lesson today is deal with issues when they arise, even though sometimes it can be, in your mind, you might think it's something completely small and tedious and has no effect on your life whatsoever. But again, even if it's something as small as like, okay, I need to do laundry. Like, you've got plenty of clean clothes in your closet, but there's dirty clothes sitting here. I know that's a big issue with a lot of y'all. You don't like just seeing dirty clothes in general. It's like, well, the kids' clothes are dirty, I got to clean them. But you don't. But you put that in your mind, and it takes up a little memory space. And then something happens at work, and you get an extra assignment at work, and then you put it off, and that takes up some memory space. And then by the end of the week, you're so maxed out with stress and mental tasks that you need to do that you keep adding to your mental to-do list. I've talked about that before. Having a mental to-do list is one of the worst things you can do, and it will set yourself up for constant stress and anxiety, especially when you don't deal with issues when they arise right then and there. Sometimes you can't always deal with those issues right then and there. Sometimes it's not necessarily smart to deal with them, especially if it's one of those emotional situations where you find yourself getting extremely angry or extremely upset, and you might say things that you don't necessarily mean or want to say. It's okay to take some deep breaths and think about things later, but dealing with it as quickly as possible. Any type of issue in life, when it comes up, just take care of it. You're going to set yourself up. You will notice less stress in general. Like, there are days where I kind of sit around, I'm like, I feel like there's not really anything to do because I've dealt with all the technical stressful things, and then anything on my actual physical to-do list is just kind of extra stuff, fun stuff for the business, or fun stuff for training, and fun stuff for y'all. But if when I get messages from people, they've got an issue with their results, or somebody wants to post a comment on my ad and say that it's a scam, or little things that I could put off until later, but in the back of my mind, they're going to always build up and fester, and then something's going to happen, and I'm just going to blow up on one of y'all, or blow up at home, or get to a point where I just shut down. That's what happens to me, actually. If I don't deal with things right away, and I let stuff build up and build up, especially the mental, emotional stuff, I shut down. I get to a point where all I want to do is sleep and work out, because I can ignore all my problems. And when I find myself doing that, that's a sign for myself that I've got something going on in my mind that I need to deal with. So yeah, that's our topic for the day. Does that make sense? Did I ramble too much? Does that make sense why you need to deal with things? Yeah, the more you deal with things sooner, the easier it becomes to deal with them, even when they are big issues. And you can just look at life like, okay, here's my issue, here's how I deal with it, and let's move on. Instead of not, before I start rambling again. Yeah, cool. Okay. Anybody have any questions?